What is very obviously unethical yet legal? Radio ads with sirens, horns, and other noises that startle drivers. Watch this video until the end for good luck. Private prisons. When you sit back and imagine all of the times free market capitalism won't give you a good result, prisons have to be right at the top of that list. Here you have the government supervising a contract for people who can't vote, who are by definition social pariahs, who will be under the complete control of the corporation, who are supposed to be being punished anyways. And the main reason this is being done is because the government has a really hard time running these institutions without violating people's rights, and outsourcing it makes that someone else's problem. My own position on this is that America needs to ask itself some very serious questions about why it needs to lock up 10 times as many people as any other democratic country. Not vaccinating your kids. In Australia, families who opted out because of beliefs used to get away with it. Now, the gov has made it so if you don't get them vaccinated, you lose your benefits. What's more important, standing by moronic and potentially lethal beliefs, or losing benefits and free money that get you more plonk and maybe food on the table? Journalists making up news. They can just about say whatever they want as long as someone can't build a libel case against them. Disowning your son or daughter because of their sexual orientation. Why should that be illegal? I'm not condoning it, but once a child is 18, if you don't like them for any reason whatsoever, I don't think there should be a law saying you can't cut them out of your life. To be very specific, I'm not saying it's not wrong. I'm very specifically why you think government should make a law making it illegal. Anti-homeless street decor or the tiny tilted benches in sheltered bus stops. I mean, to be fair, I wouldn't want homeless people camping out outside of my house leaving dirty needles and piles of feces on the sidewalk. However, using the tactics you are talking about doesn't do anything to actually eliminate homelessness. So maybe we should look at some programs that would actually get people off the street. Through conversations with first responders and talking to people online, it appears that the overwhelming cause for chronic homelessness, like 99.9%, is mental illness. What that probably means is that in so many cases these people probably can't actually take care of themselves 100%. Even if the ones who are addicts are able to get clean, they probably can't hold down a full-time job that will pay all of their bills and then actually care for themselves and a place to live. Maybe it's time we admit that, and then we can do something about it. In Germany, it is legal to manipulate someone in suicide. If you wanted to get rid of your depressed girlfriend, you could repeatedly tell her that she is worthless and better off dead. You could hide letters from her job application was accepted. You could hand her the knife and walk away. You could tell her that the two of you will commit suicide together and then let her kill herself. I know of one case where a man went to suicide help website and talked at least one woman into suicide. He did this for sexual satisfaction. The case never even got to court because it is obviously not illegal. Supermarket spinning perfectly good food instead of donating it to those in need. To add insult to injury, in some places you can be charged with theft for taking the food from their bins despite the fact it was going to landfill anyway. In Holland, they publish a book today about the cult family from Runewald. A lot of hearsay without the consent of the children. It's about welcome in civilization. Closing remark meant very sarcastic. Okay, this one is very specific, but there is this ex-veterinarian who set up a bunch of sites where people would end up if they Google standee duties, doctors, pharmacists, vets, locksmiths, etc. The site provides a number, the same one irrespective of what you are looking for, which redirects the call through a call center in Bulgaria, where they have some people just googling whatever it is you are looking for, and provide you with the contact information of people who are not on a standby duty list whatsoever. They keep you on the line for several minutes with the sole purpose of getting as much money as possible from you, while providing factually wrong information. But it is legal, because each of those sites does list the call tariff per minute somewhere on the page. But the guy is simply profiting of other people's emergencies, while providing false information to boot, which is pretty unethical in my book. I was just listening to a podcast episode about Celebgate, and was surprised that we were, legally not equipped to prevent posting or sharing unsolicited pictures of people. Even Reddit apparently took over a year to update their T&Cs to handle such cases. While I understand that this is a nuanced topic with ideas such as free speech etc. to be considered before making a decision, it could easily be identified as unethical nonetheless. This made me curious as to what else is obviously unethical and could affect millions of people unfairly, but law doesn't condemn it yet. Testing on animals. Kinda depends. Cosmetics. Absolutely unethical and even banned across all of the EU. Drugs. Not so clear cut at all. Many human lives are saved or improved by testing on animals. Thalidomide is the perfect example of where more thorough testing would have saved lives. In a world where most people eat meat, harming a few more purpose-bred animals to save lives with no better alternative doesn't seem so bad. Fake buyouts. To be able to sell your shares as an individual at a higher price and not buying it back as promised as a company. Dunno why, but it was the first thing which came to mind, although I know there are worse things than that. Lying deliberately during a political campaign. Both sides do this, but in recent years a few political campaigns have emphasized repeating slogans that aren't necessarily true. Consequences of this: the UK is leaving the EU at the end of this month, and the US has had Donald Trump as its president for nearly 4 years. So in my city, new apartment developments often get extended property tax rebates, grant CCT if they agree to include a certain amount of low-income rental units mixed into the rest of the building. Thing is, there is no law to enforce this agreement, so they get a bunch of public money and then end up with only high rent units. Lobbying. Just sponsoring somebody campaign, it's just the same as corruption. I think just means the wealth gap will continue to increase while the rich piggyback off each other to get better spots, connections etc etc. Money walks, haters talk though, and everybody does has its price, so IDK wants to blame the PPL, the system of government. IDK for something that's made up, it has surprising amount of sway. Drug commercials. The fine print says they might kill you, but you'd never know that from the happy dancing people on screen. Just the fact that a certain amount of money will pretty much mean you're above the law. That and how, as long as you have connections in government, you're able to get away with more. Perfect example being back in 2013 I was in diversion for a DUI. During one of my sessions we were talking about how one of the children of a member of the OLLC, Oregon Liquor License Commission, was caught drunk driving, but they got off scot-free cause of their connections. I just remember being so livid about that. Scientology. It's a f***ing cult and has ruined countless lives. Prison pipelines. Test scores don't determine more crime. And if they did, maybe if we put more money into education than we do into prisons, we wouldn't have that problem. How our justice system treats attempted murder and rapists or child sex crimes. 1. Attempted murder should f***ing be treated the same as murder. 2. Rapists and child predators need life sentences or death penalty, because when they get out of prison after a month or a couple years, they move on to murder, so they avoid getting a living witness to identify them and bring them to justice. It's creating murderers. 3. Stop protecting pedos in prison unless they have information that will save other kids and help lock up other sick. Let the gang members and murderers take care of them because they f***ing deserve it. When companies offer you benefits, if you work a certain average of hours, and then around when benefits go out, they lower your hours dramatically, so you don't qualify because they don't want to pay. Becoming a congressperson, then using the information you come across to insider trade legally. When that loophole gets closed, you pass a closed door resolution on a Friday in the middle of the night to scuttle it. Abortion. Euthanasia. Unplugging people on life support in general. The death penalty. Stealing organs from people in comas. The situation of healthcare in the US. Why the hell does my insulin retail at $700 per month? And people on injections require 2 types of insulin. So let's make that $1,400. My continuous glucose monitor is essential to my health. It alerts me when my glucose is low. This thing has 2 parts, the sensors at $400 per month and the transmitter at $500 per 3 months. We have amazing technology like insulin pumps, which are so expensive that I haven't even bothered looking at them despite my doctor urging me to consider them. Now lucky me, I have good insurance. but imagine someone without. Make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell. Let us know your thoughts on this topic. See you soon.